Welcome to Above the Garage.
Hi, friends. Welcome to our discussion of episode 2 of The Veil. This episode is also directed by Dana Reed, our favorite Aussie director, and the show is created by and run by Stephen Knight. Let's do our round of introductions and dive in.
Hi, I'm Julia.
Hi, I'm Megan.
Hi, I'm Rachel.
Hi, I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Kate. Episode 2 opens back in the refugee camp on the Syrian-Turkey border, the Americans descending as warned to raid the camp. Unlike Imogen, they're not shy about announcing their actual target, Adilah al-Adrisi, and they get real excited when they hear she was dripping blood throughout her brief stay here.
It's like a literal cliche, I think, this whole scene. Like this James Bond type of spy, like going under the radar, and then the Americans walk in like 3 helicopters and all that stuff. And
Colombian, all-American like. The American stereotype, but you know, it's probably true. So we're not all as annoying as they make us on TV.
Right.
No.
Many of us are, so fair. Then the next scene is exciting. The daughter is legit. Her name is Yasmina, and she misses her mom. So I guess Adilah hasn't been gone for quite as long as it seemed to me in the last episode, if this is indeed her daughter. Her current guardian's taking her to the bakery for treats. But she's not much of a guardian, as it turns out, as Yasmina is kidnapped just outside the bakery door while Auntie waits for her puffs. The girl is screaming Auntie as she's grabbed, but she's too slow, and Yasmina's gone, and a Land Rover that peels out and around the corner. I think the shot lingered on the aunt doubled over crying for long enough that I was kind of expecting something else to happen.
I was like, what are we focusing on?
Right, we get it. She's upset.
Yeah.
But I was still surprised when Yasmina suddenly runs back around the corner.
That was terrifying, though, just watching her snatched off the street. It's like your worst nightmare, just the way that she was just in a moment, like she was with her cookies or her macaroons, and then it just happened so quickly. Like, and it's weird, how traumatizing for this little girl.
Exactly.
Even if they release her, how traumatizing to be snatched up, put in a car, had her hair taken out, and then
it's also unnecessary, though. If all you wanted was her hair, you just walk up behind her, pull it out, find her, and bring some scissors. Take it and go, you know? Like, you definitely do not need to traumatize her to that degree.
Right.
That's crazy. Any spy should be able to, like, you know, barely, like, run into someone and then have their hair in
stealthy.
Their pocket.
Yeah. She'll just be like, oops, bump.
And I assume even if Adilah is Adilah, my feeling is that Auntie is an honorary title. Adilah seems like an only child to me. I don't imagine that's her actual sister.
It'd be the dad's sister, but obviously we don't know anything about that, so...
Oh, that's true. I kind of totally forgot that a dad is involved in some manner, at least at the outset. Thank you for the reminder.
At some point.
Back with Imogen and Adilah, they're sleeping in their car. Imogen's dreaming of the mystery man, who's once again calling someone, presumably a younger Imogen, a silly girl, when she wakes up to a mobile ringing, another missed call from France. We get a date here, too. Not that it really matters in this show necessarily, but it's Monday, October 23rd. And the current location of their blue dot is Road 16 in the Kütahya mountain province in central Turkey. Some sheep farmers walk by the car, waking Adilah before Imogen comes to the very sad realization that she's out of cigarettes. She shouldn't have wasted them so much in the last episode. It's clear there's been some sort of off-screen fight between the two of them, and Imogen is still mad and refusing to inject the antibiotics at first. But then they're fighting because they both want to do it. Tussling like Max and Malik. Except a bit more flirtatious. I feel like they're like very flirtatious with each other. I think
I didn't catch it, but sure.
No. I don't think anyone did, because I think Megan had said before recording that they're like siblings, right?
I took it more as siblings. But that's an interesting take.
I do try to put that on people when it's not there, though.
Well, and when it comes to their interaction through the whole thing that I've noticed so far is I never know what to trust, because I feel like both of them are always testing the other one. And I never know in any interaction, like they seem to be having a sibling camaraderie, the like playful fighting sort of. But then as soon as they're separate, they get these looks that sort of flash across their faces. So it's not like they're becoming besties necessarily, at least not at this stage.
They're feeding off each other. They're giving what they get is what's going on. So they're kind of playing each other.
Both of each other, which obviously I think they both should be.
Yeah. It's a constant power play for me. Like also, you mentioned the phone and the date, and I think there's some mistakes with that, if I'm not wrong. Especially the first shot of the phone, the time is just off completely wrong, because the first time you see it, it's like 3:30 p.m. and they just woke up, and I was like, wait, that's weird. Like, did they take a nap or something? And then later when Adilah looks or like checks the phone number, it's suddenly 9:17 or something in the morning. So I was like, okay, probably a mistake. And we see the same 3:30 something time stamp later when they're on the bridge in Istanbul. So I think they probably had a little mistake.
Weren't paying attention to that.
Missed those details, I guess.
And also, I did also check the date, and you said it's the 23rd. But in episode 1, she says she asks for the date, and they say is it the 28th yet? No, it's already 29th.
That's right.
So I was like, okay,
that's right.
Are they gone for like a month? Because we didn't know what month it was. But
that's an interesting goof,
I did forget that one.
Considering they highlighted the date in the first episode, it's in the dialogue.
Yeah,
because I can understand like if they're just missing shots of a time and date stamp on a phone, just not thinking through the continuity of that, but since they actually made a point to put the date in the previous episode, and then they have a date in the next episode that's earlier than the date that they said, that's like, okay.
I also, just to say that in the last episode discussion, we were wondering, in those flashbacks, Kate, if the kid was her or like a daughter of some kind. I'm guessing this now says that it is her, right? It is Imogen.
I took it as her.
I think it's her, but yeah, I don't think there's any solid proof, but that's definitely the feeling.
James Purefoy is supposedly her dad.
Well, is he the only man? So the man reading
There's 2 men.
I thought there's 2 men. Okay, because the man reading to her is different.
The one that's reading to her, I think, is supposed to be her father, because she mentions her father reading her Shakespeare later on, and then there's that, and it comes back once or twice later in the episode about the other man who says silly girl to her. That's a different man.
Yeah.
Right. So James Purefoy is not her dad then.
I think he's a lover.
Yeah, there's one with a beard who shows up in the lover scene.
That's who she's talking about.
Okay, he's not the dad.
Okay, so he's definitely not the dad. He is the lover.
Nothing is definite
Supposedly.
by any means.
Well,
but yes, that's how it seems. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, I associate him more with the red dress, and then the other guy with reading to the girl. Yeah.
There's more references to 12th Night later, so I was going to bring that up later. But like, is there any significance to her brooch with the blue flowers and the clover? I just made note of it.
Was that a Violet, or what was that?
I think
because I think her name might be Violet. Like her real
the thing
name
is that the character name in 12th Night is Viola. And so I think he was calling her Viola because he's reading this to her. I thought the same thing at first. I was like, is her real name Violet? I had that in my notes, but then when I went back, I even pulled out my copy of 12th Night and I was going through it, and so because what he says is, and now my darling Viola, it's time for today to say goodbye and to the land of Illyria. So I think
referring to the character then. But I do wonder, because she does have that. Maybe her, I mean, who knows? Maybe
maybe it's still her real name.
The book.
Could be, and maybe that's why he chose 12th Night, because of if she has a similar name or the same name.
And she quoted it in the first episode as well. So
yeah,
they definitely want you to associate 12th Night.
Which is also interesting, because the main character in the play is disguising herself as a man, or like shape-shifting her.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get into later. But
so this is like a good reference to Imogen, or whatever her real name is.
Yes. Yeah, I think Imogen identifies with Viola.
There's a brief shot of the Eiffel Tower, and then we're back in Paris with Malik and the DGSE, still tracking the blue dot. The women have been avoiding cameras and using cash, but I'm surprised they haven't gotten rid of the tracker on the car, which we later learn is actually just her cell phone, and she does ditch it later. Adilah is quite entertained by Imogen's annoyance towards her. She's been smiling most of this episode so far, which is a new thing. She looks at Imogen's missed call, writes the number on the windshield when she can't find anything else to write with, as Imogen refuses to pee in front of a shepherd. Who cares if a shepherd sees you pee? I don't get that.
Oh, I totally get that.
She could open both car doors and pee in between them. Amateur. I'm disappointed.
That's so true. You'd be a good spy, Kate.
Obviously you've done that before.
Often. When you have 2 young kids that have to pee all the time, and you're trying to, like, when we drove cross country, like, pulling off to find a bathroom every time is not practical.
I agree.
Or efficient. But I am disappointed a spy can't figure out how to pee in this wide open space.
She also took toilet paper with her, which was kind of funny to me, because like, if you're just going to pee, like, it's like, I'm not taking toilet paper for me.
Wait, you guys don't wipe when you pee?
Not when
I
we're
do
in
on
the
the
wild.
toilet, of course, but not in the wild.
I'm just assuming she's in the wild so often. She's like, okay, I don't like peeing on myself anymore. So I will be prepared now because I'm used to peeing in the wild. She's just more prepared.
Right. And obviously classier than I am. So
I was wondering about the leaving her phone in the car thing, because you would think that an expert spy would take her phone with her. Yeah. I totally thought the same thing.
That's definitely intentional.
She left it in the car to see what if Adilah would do
doesn't
exactly
look back.
what she did.
Yeah.
She very like pointedly doesn't look back when you would obviously be looking back to see what she was doing. So
Also, why did Adilah write that number on there?
Yeah, that was
I don't get it.
That was gonna be my question. What's she gonna do?
What was she gonna do with the number? She didn't have a phone of her own.
Very odd to me. Calling Imogen's contact is unlikely to help her in any way.
Well, maybe she can. Maybe it will help her remember the number. I think if she's like an ISIS operative or like a commander, and everything is true, then she must be really highly intelligent and probably could remember the whole number if she just sees it like two times or 3 times.
I wondered that too, if it was a memory thing.
I would think she should be able to memorize it without doing that. But also, why would you do it on the front windshield? Like, it's such a stupid place that obviously is going to get caught by Imogen, who's driving the car. I don't know.
Well, they switched seats later, because at first I had the same thought, like, why wouldn't she do it discreetly on like the passenger window? But then they switched seats, so Imogen would have been on the passenger side. Yeah,
lots of questions. Turns out their fight was about belly dancing. Imogen is pro belly dancing. Adilah is oddly anti belly dancing. They really are bickering a lot. And we get to learn something I didn't know about belly dancing, that it was created for women by women to celebrate childbirth. Imogen uses the belly dancing as a transition straight into Adilah's radicalization. When was she radicalized? Does she even know anything about religion? Adilah doesn't like the word radicalized. Imogen wants to know how someone with no religious background could possibly be radicalized. Was it a man? Nope, it's the older women that recruit the girls with the promise of a more pure life away from the corruption of the West. Knowing also her history of drugs and alcohol, perhaps that's why this appealed to her, but it all struck me as a little Handmaid's-esque. I can picture Aunt Lydia doing that kind of recruiting. There's freedom to and freedom from. That was very a lot of handmaids overlaps.
What I thought was interesting about this conversation was it seems like Imogen slips here, because
she does.
In the previous episode, she said she didn't have children. In this one, she said, all I did was shake my belly and asked around to help me give birth. And then later, Adilah calls her on that, saying, you said you don't have children.
Yeah. It seems intentional though, right?
Her child could I don't know about that one. Either intentional or her child maybe died.
That's what I think is that it slips going against the cover that she'd set up for herself or revealed.
That's a pretty big slip.
Like at all. I think she may have had a kid, but it was still intentional to get her to know and question.
But if she's contradicting herself, I would think in order to maintain her coverage, she'd want to stay consistent on details like that.
Or
she's
maybe
bringing
not
up the belly dancing maybe to get her to say something, but it seemed like a slip to me that she went against what she said about not having children in this one by saying I thought it was accidental.
Yeah, I disagree, but I get it. Could be either way.
I think it's the truth, but I think it slipped out accidentally, because then she said, after she said, you don't have children, I don't. I don't know.
But it's all with her smile. Like, she's all over the place. Her whole MO is just like keeping her guessing, go from here to there, like go from theater to you're a murderer to like all over the place. So I think that it was just part of her ploy and letting her in. She wants her to know they both have daughters and they have that between each other.
No, I definitely agree that when
like
she's saying the things like calling her a murderer and radicalized, she's testing her and she's trying to see how she reacts. But it's just interesting to me that she would be inconsistent on that note unless it was a mistake.
I think she's a better spy than you do, I guess, even though she annoys me a little bit.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. If
she wouldn't make that mistake.
Yeah, if she's really that good, right, as she's been sent on a mission by the French, granted, they're fucking. But it's probably not just his decision to send her, you know what I mean? So she's obviously, we see her as being that good. So it is hard to see you slip so quickly.
Right.
But I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
Could be anything.
Yeah. From there, she just jumps all around, compliments her driving, and straight back to a murder accusation, back to belly dancing, seemingly admits she gave birth. The emphasis when she said that was on the I, too. Like, it wasn't like she was talking about a hypothetical human. Anyway, Adilah asks her nicely not to call her a murderer. please. She doesn't like to be called radical or murderer. And then accuses her of hiding behind her jokes like the boys at school, which is what she's doing. And yeah, Adilah noticed the child thing too, calls her out on it. Imogen insists she doesn't have kids and she just needs a fucking cigarette. And they nearly die trying to pass a truck. Imogen bullied her into swerving around. And then Imogen's laughing hysterically like a psychopath once they get out. She also finally sees the phone number Adilah wrote on the windshield and lies that it's the number of a doctor she met at a camp in Lebanon. Or maybe she's not lying if Malik has a PhD of some sort or another, and she adds that she does hope he's in love with her. Or maybe it's someone else calling. Did you guys assume that was Malik's number? I guess I could go back and compare
I
the
think
phone
it was
number.
Malik.
Yeah, he seems to be trying to get a hold of her.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, it's the +33 is for France.
France. Yeah.
I mean, it could be someone else from France.
Right. Yeah, I think
But we
it's
always
Malik.
see him too. Like, I think they're juxtaposed
Trying
with
to call
images
her.
of him on the phone trying to call her.
Right.
So I do think it's usually Malik. But I thought that was interesting too, because he knows what she's doing. He knows she's on a mission. He knows that she probably can't just answer her phone and talk to him. So why do you think he does call her that frequently? Just to see if she might possibly be alone and available to answer?
You know what's interesting that I just kind of thought of? To me, it's interesting anyway. I kind of feel now that because she's making so many like mistakes, like with the phone, leaving the phone in the car, and you know, the slip up or whatever she did with the belly dancing thing, like, is this a setup? Why would he be ringing her so often? Like, aren't these people supposed to be like professionals?
That's why I asked that, because it seems strange that he was always calling her and he knows what she's doing and that she's with their potential target.
Yeah, you wouldn't call somebody in the field unless you had to and you had like a major update, you know? Imogen offers her a pen and a piece of paper next time she wants to write, or she could even use the phone. And then Adilah is driving again, despite their recent near-death, though that was kind of Imogen's fault anyway. Finally, they've arrived in Istanbul. Traffic-y as cities are wont to be, but this one also comes with police inspecting the vehicles coming onto the bridge. And at the same time, Imogen gets an urgent message from Malik to call him. She decides the best route right now is to straight up abandon the car. Not suspicious at all. Luckily, there are enough people standing outside their cars that she manages to escape unnoticed. Or so it seems at first. There is one man following them through the crowd. Imogen tosses her phone into a bucket of water, and the blue dot finally disappears from the DGSE screen. The women start running, the man's still in pursuit, and then they're on the roof. Imogen's got a propane tank or something she blindsides him with, but he's got a tough face, and it doesn't make much of a dent.
He's got a tough face. Lol.
Well, like, that would have been enough for me.
Yeah, when she hit him,
Painful.
I was like, damn, that didn't do anything at all. Like, she hit him a few more times and like nothing.
He must have a steel plate in his
Two
forehead.
solid hits in. Yeah.
Yeah.
The man wants to know where Adilah is, so Adilah conveniently steps out, distracting him at the perfect moment so Imogen can knock him out. They bicker some more. This must be the fight where Lizzie broke her back during filming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The story she told on the Jimmy Kimmel
I think
store.
she even goes, ouch.
show.
Like I could hear her and like she's like, ouch. I'm like, I wonder
Really?
if that's a real ouch. Yeah.
I wondered too.
I'll have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
She goes,
If
ouch.
they
I'm
left
like,
it in,
yeah.
that's, I mean,
Go back.
I
and
kind of
then
almost
she's like,
hope
ouch.
they did. If she suffered that much, like, use that shot. It's like,
Yeah.
Agreed. But also, if she broke her back and all she said was ouch, I'm impressed.
Well, she seemed to get right back up.
But she didn't.
Well,
I think she was
didn't.
laying
She
there
said
for
she
like...
was laid out. Yeah,
Oh,
she
yeah.
was laid out
Oh,
and
yeah.
she had to wait for medical assistance. But there was like, was it months before she was healed enough to finish the scene? Because they had to go back and finish the scene.
For some reason, when I was watching it on the episode, though, the fight scene seemed really short. Like, I don't know if there was an extended version on the Jimmy Kimmel show, or I'm just remembering that it was longer. But
Yeah,
to me,
same.
What do you guys think about the fact that Adilah helps Imogen instead of just, is this a situation where you think Adilah might choose to run away because Imogen tells her to wait downstairs and then she goes upstairs to take care of does Adilah benefit at all from just leaving Imogen and running off? Or does it make sense that she would want to stick with Imogen because Imogen is trying to help her?
I think if she is truly, like, if she wants people to know, be Adilah, then she would stick with her. I think it would give it away that she's the Jinn Al Raqqa if she runs.
That's a good point, yeah.
I think it could be just her playing it. Like, I have to pretend like I'm this woman who, you know, just got caught up and I'm actually more innocent and I'm not the Jinn Al Raqqa, you know, I'm not the commander of ISIS. If she ran.
Yeah.
Definitely her. You catch her easily. Right.
And Imogen isn't treating this like she's under duress. I mean, she doesn't feel unsafe with Imogen. It's not like feels like she's her kidnapper who she needs to run away from.
I think Adilah probably feels like she's in the control of the situation. Like she's got Imogen
number
wrapped around her finger enough of the way that she just thinks she's in control. But I don't think she's in control. I think Imogen is.
Well, she's playing the part of Adilah. She's
Yeah.
being Adilah, being somebody who has a child who is not this ice.
Right. But I think whoever she really is not scared of Imogen, whereas she should be.
I don't
perhaps.
think, yeah.
And now we get Max at the DGSE. There's a painting at the entrance inviting contemplation. Malik even says, before entering the fray, we are invited to sit quietly and contemplate a great work of art. The Louvlins and paintings. That's cool. Max makes fun of their 35-hour work weeks not being much of a fray to begin with, before taking him up on the offer to sit and contemplate. Unsuccessfully. Just a woman with a weird head. The painting is a portrait of Madame Renard by Amadeo Modiglian. Apologies for butchering all the names. A write-up on that portrait says it portrays her with grace and elegance while also evoking a sense of mystery. Speaking of which, Lizzie is gorgeous in this episode. I mean, she's always gorgeous, but I think she's so pretty with her blonde hair and her makeup. Burton is amazing with the makeup.
Just to add to that, I think Yumna Marwan, who plays Adilah, is also
gorgeous.
Stunning.
She is.
And
Absolutely.
the makeup is amazing on her as well.
Agreed.
So regarding the portrait, I when I was looking it up, I was trying to find something in it about the meaning behind it, but like Kate referenced, it doesn't really dig into it, at least not that much. My thought when I saw the image was that the face looked like it was divided. There's a lot of literary references in this show that talk about shape-shifting duality, stuff like that. And I saw the same thing in the painting, because if you look at the left side of her face, it's like it's in shadow, and the right side of her face is in light. And on the left side of the face, the eye is dark. And on the right side of the face, the pupil is visible. So I just saw another symbol of duality, which you see a ton of in this show.
Inside headquarters, Malik's boss informs them that they're going viral in the intelligence community with their airport tussle. Very exciting. Malik is furious that Max endangered Imogen's life with his chase through the streets of Istanbul, and that's why she threw her phone away. Max does a little more mocking of the allegedly short French workday before getting to the facts. We've heard most of them before, but I don't know if I'd heard that she'd been in ISIS for 15 years. They might have said that in the last episode, but it's a long time. The French have not been able to find anyone with the identity of Adilah al-Adrisi, and Max makes another joke. This one's funnier. Well, we have a different list. It's a longer list. Sometimes we skip lunch.
I like that one too.
Yeah, I love him, Josh Charles. And on this larger list, Adilah can be found. And if she's in ISIS, she's largely inactive, not a high-ranking leader. They also know of her daughter. They're the ones that grabbed her off the street, it seems, as he has her hair in his hand. Minimize the trauma next time, asshole. If the hair matches the DNA from the refugee camp, Imogen's road trip mate is actually Adilah and probably harmless. If it does not match, Imogen's likely in the car with the most wanted woman in the world, Sabine, who has just assumed the identity of Adilah. A little more shit-talking, and then Max is out. Malik, too, off to work some overtime, he says. But it's funny because the next time we see him, he's just drinking a bottle of wine in a cafe. He's not doing much for the stereotype in that scene.
Was this the first time that we found out that they're actually two different people? Like, I just figured that she was using multiple names, or was I wrong with that?
Yeah, because it's the first time anybody found a real identity of Adilah. The Americans said they found that this woman exists. So before that, this is the first time it set it up as she could be Adilah, or she's Sabine,
gotcha.
And she's stolen this real woman's identity. So like kind of two real people we're talking about now, I guess. Whereas before it was one.
Like the commander who was pretending, who took on an alias name, but it was still the same person. Or that there was just one person and Adilah is just an alias. But now there's two distinct people, right?
Right. So yeah, that's definitely new in that scene.
Could that also be a fake though? If she is like the big bad ISIS lady, couldn't she just like pretend there's some other person out there that...
Yeah, but then her daughter is...
That's what I mean.
Her daughter's real, but she could still be... Yeah, she could have created Adilah's identity. Yeah, I think there's still a lot of possibilities of what's actually going on.
Too many questions.
Yep, too many.
Well, before Malik leaves, though, his boss tells him that Imogen's unique abilities will no longer be needed now that they have all the DNA to confirm who she is. Whatever those unique abilities are, which I assume is actually just being able to like get to know somebody, get them to trust her.
Her instinct.
Yeah. Then we get to wander through a market in Istanbul. Very cool. And we end up at a belly dancing show. Imogen's idea, I imagine. They're here to see Mr. DeMille, ready for their close-up. And they've got $2,000 for him. Alas, Mr. DeMille is no longer in the business of taking out the trash, as the bouncer calls it, until Adilah pulls out another $10,000, which Mr. DeMille finds more enticing. Clearly, DeMille and Imogen have a past history, as he just asked her how long she's known Adilah, to which she answers very dishonestly, claims she's known her for ages. She wants a new identity for her as a dancer and a singer. Mr. DeMille is really over this business, blames it on Daesh, aka ISIS. Imogen says she's being paid by Adilah's father. Loads of lies flying around this room. When DeMille asks if they're lovers, Adilah speaks up, clarifies that they are not, but she's blown the story that she doesn't speak English. He decides to help them anyway.
I was curious what you guys thought about, because at first he seemed resistant to help because he assumed this woman was whoever they were looking for, that when they had closed off the bridge and everything, and he didn't want that type of trouble. It sounded like, I don't want her fingerprints in here, stuff like that.
Right.
Did you know anything in particular in that scene that would get him to do it other than the
Yeah.
money? But I mean, there's the money. Was it the way that Adilah sort of stepped up with more confidence, or I don't know. What did you guys think?
Money, 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 money.
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 Money. I do
Yeah,
too. I
that's
think
what
it
I
was
thought.
the money
the
and
money.
and also that he seems to know Imogen and is probably like, okay, I've worked with you before. So that plus the money probably made it okay. I'll help you. I
Yeah.
know you to be somewhat a trustworthy person.
Or even if
Whatever.
not trustworthy, that he's
Yeah.
confident that she'll get her the fuck
Right.
out of here. And
He's worked with her before, it seems. So
yeah,
like that might
Yeah.
be what.
trustworthy in that way. Yeah.
I seem to notice Adilah, she seems to be very much offended by what, somebody in ISIS, or she did not like it when the bouncer touched her. She like totally recoiled, which would be true. You're not supposed to be touched. And then her just thinking that they could be lovers, you could tell she's like,
Oh yeah.
horrified by that thought.
Right.
So I'm like, she could be definitely more radicalized than,
Yeah.
because that would
then
be
she's
just
letting on.
abhorrent to her. And she basically crawled out of her skin in both of those instances. So I'm like, okay.
Good observation. Yeah.
They're waiting in the library for their papers, and both women are snooping around the books. Imogen finds her favorite, Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, which she quoted from in the last episode, and is taken back to the memory of a girl. The child in her memory flashes, and a different man who taps the flower on her dress and shuts the book as flames fill her mind. We all feel like that's probably her dad reading to her, right?
I think so.
Adilah has also found her favorite book, the Book of Surprises from the 14th century. Her grandfather would read it to her. It's about jinns, devils, and shapeshifters. Imogen knows about the Jinn Kings. There are 7, one for each day of the week. They can change into anything, any animal, any person. Adilah flips to the Red King of Tuesday, the one that scared her the most. Her grandfather assured her that the Jinn were gone forever, but she still sees him in her dream.
Both of their literary references are really interesting for their characters, especially so the 12th night, as Yulia brought up earlier, the lead character Viola disguises herself as a boy. She works for the Duke of Illyria, Orsino, and Orsino is in love with Countess Olivia. So Orsino wants Viola he doesn't know she's Viola, but her boy character to go to Olivia in disguise, again, almost like a double agent. And it really seems like this story spoke to Imogen, whatever her real name is, as a child. And it could even be what drew her to this line of work, just that idea of taking on these different disguises and personas and becoming other people and working in that way. I thought it was really interesting. And even if that wasn't true to her character, it's a really interesting parallel to the story from 12th Night. Did you guys, you mentioned the quotes from episode 1. Did you guys talk about her quote at the end of the episode, for such as we are made of, such we be?
No more than to note that it was Shakespeare.
It was also from 12th Night. I looked up so the full quote was, alas, our frailty is the cause, not we, for such as we are made of, such we be. And it's from 12th Night, Act 2, Scene 2. And Viola says that women cannot help being duped by deceptive men. The fault lies in their female frailty. So she blames her gender's frailty on Olivia falling for Cesario. So Cesario is her boy persona that she takes on. Read into that what you will. I'm not sure. I thought that was interesting, though.
They're both kind of into like shape shifting. Yeah.
Yeah. Adilah's book about the jinn. What was interesting to me is when I looked up this book, I found that it was called Book of Wonders, and she calls it Book of Surprises. And the part about the Red King of Tuesday, the Red King of Tuesday was depicted in the Book of Wonders as a sinister form astride a lion. In the same illustration, he holds a severed head and a sword because the Red King of Tuesday was aligned with Mars, the god of war. And obviously the shape-shifting, the jinn, the devils, and also it's from pre-Islamic Arabia. Jinn, also known as genies, were spirits that were both feared and admired. They were said to have the power to control the weather, inspire poets, and make crops grow. Jinn are also associated with shape-shifting, possession, and madness. They are typically depicted as having thin bodies and the ability to change at will. Jinn are said to favor the form of a snake, but can also appear as scorpions, lizards, or humans. But I also thought was interesting is that the Quran depicts jinns as spirits that are neither good nor evil, but can choose their actions.
Yeah. However, the one of the Jinn of Tuesday is an
The god of war.
archdemon. Yeah. He's the archdemon. So she likes that god of war type of thing. Would be kind of good for an ISIS commander. Yeah.
She still dreams of it, and she said she was afraid of it.
I think that's when Imogen was kind of like thinking, okay, this might be the ISIS commander here. Because, I mean, the genie of Raqqa is what they call her.
Yeah.
And the Jinn El Raqqa.
The Jinn of Raqqa,
hello.
yeah.
And her favorite book just happens to be about the Jinn. So I think that triggered, obviously, okay, I think we might be dealing with the genie of Raqqa here.
But if she really were, would she be that on the nose about it?
Why would she show her that?
Maybe she just underestimated that she would know, like somebody from the West would know of such a book. Why would they be interested? You know, they think we're so self-absorbed, and she probably just underestimated Imogen and how educated she is. You know, this was my favorite book.
Pretty big mistake.
I mean, pretty big, especially because she's called the Jinn.
Exactly.
This is my favorite book about jinns.
Yeah, but it's really popular in the Middle East. So
yeah,
I think like there might be a lot of girls and boys that had this book as their favorite. So probably she felt like, okay, it's nothing unusual to like the book. I mean, it's not just about the jinn in general as well. It's all about astrology and folklore and other things. It's not the book just about jinn in the first place. It's just a part of the book. It's like a book of fairy tales, kind of. So like we read Brothers Grimm, and they read this one. So
the Book of Wonders or the Book of Surprises. Yeah.
And since ISIS are also mostly in the Middle East, I think like getting that nickname as the Jinn of Raqqa for that atrocious things this woman committed is not as far-fetched too, I think, because it stems from that region.
I almost think it makes me believe Adilah a little bit more, because it felt genuine to me that this was something true from her childhood that she connected with. Because otherwise, if she's either trying to pretend to be a woman who's not the Jinn of Raqqa, or if she is the Jinn of Raqqa, why would she draw attention to this particular book? You wouldn't want to put focus on yourself in any way that you could possibly be the Jinn of Raqqa. So you're trying to avert any kind of suspicion that you are. So it almost seemed to me more genuine that she really is Adilah, and that she really has this is from her childhood.
I could see that until the end scene. And then the end scene,
scene, exactly. Yeah. That we're not there yet, but exactly. Yeah. Then what the heck?
I mean, this is like, but it's like interesting, because when you put it like this, it's basically a kind of double play. Like you hide in the open, you emphasize, you emphasize what you try to hide. So it makes the other person wonder what is true. Are you just not cautious enough, or is this truth, or are you lying, or what is happening here? So,
and you also see the dynamic between them coming into play in this scene, because when Adilah first calls her over saying, this they have my favorite book, she has this look on her face, like it's this really sentimental, genuine, I thought, look on her face, like she wants to share it with Imogen, but Imogen takes it and starts to clue into the lore of the jinn, and giving her a suspicious look. And then you see Adilah's face fall in, she still sees me as a monster. Yeah. She still sees me as this monstrous commander. She can't see me as a human. She can't see me as a person. So I don't know if that's truly there, because it's like you said, Megan, this show is throwing us one way and the other. And at this point in time, especially episode 2, we don't know which way is up, and we
Right.
we
And
have
as a good
no
spy,
way to know
that's
yet.
how you would,
Mhm.
that's what you would do. Just like you'd kind of throw in where people questioning, like I always
Uh-huh.
like, you keep people confused is what you want. Like,
Right. Yeah.
that's the game.
Interesting. I like it though. I like the fact that it's not clear and it's not easily
Mhm.
interpreted, and it's keeping us guessing.
At this point, I feel like if she isn't like, the baddie,
Jen.
why are we watching?
And then Imogen announces at the end that she is. I mean, I think she is. But mostly for your reason, Kimberly. What's the show about if she's really just a mom from Paris that's
Mhm.
being falsely cased?
Unless she is Abdillah and she did work with the Jinn, El Raqqa,
Oh yeah, like
and is now turning against her. Who knows? We don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
not much time to do it in though.
Right.
Yeah. I hate 6 episodes.
I like it.
Oh, why?
Depends on how well the story is told.
I like 8 minimum.
Yeah,
Yourself.
I kind of am a 10 episode type of person, but if they could do it well and make it all make sense, I'd rather
Well,
have
and this
that
was a
than
short episode.
plot
Yeah.
holes.
Like
Yeah.
35
holes.
minutes. So if you have 6 episodes, you would want to, I would think, maximize the amount of time you have
Right.
for each episode. But
Yeah.
Now we have Malik drinking his wine at the cafe, waiting to hear if the DNA is a match or not. And there's a beautiful shot of Istanbul before the ladies are walking downstairs into the restaurant again. Mr. DeMille is in the restaurant now, has their papers ready, will not vouch for them himself, and questions if Imogen has any fucking idea what she's doing traveling with this woman. He also wants to see her dance. If she's a dancer and a singer as her cover, she needs to be able to back it up. So sing. Luckily, she can sing quite well, an understatement even.
I'm so glad that they got her to sing instead of dance, because I was about to like look away from the screen. I can't do it.
Cringe.
Cringe. I can't watch.
Secondhand embarrassment.
Oh, so bad. But she was good.
She was great, and I wonder if that was
Yeah.
something that was known about Sabine or the genie, and that's why Imogen had been so
Right.
focused on the dancing
exactly.
and singing
I had the
aspect.
same thought.
Yeah, and she was very moved by it.
Mhm.
Imogen
Very.
had
Well,
like
she was
tears in
moved
her
by
eyes.
it. Oh, yeah, because I kept staring at her reaction to that, because it wasn't just shock, like, wow, you've got a great voice. It wasn't
Right.
just that. There was
Something deeper going on.
it was either the song she sang, the fact that she can sing, the language she sang in, or something about that seemed to inform something to Imogen about this person, one way or the other. And the tears I saw in her eyes, to me, was disappointment that I think she really is this
Yeah,
commander
I kind of
person.
got that too, Rachel. I did. I kind of
Right.
felt like she was like, oh God.
Like she'd been on the bubble for a long time, going back and forth about her, and she, I think, is starting to care about her a little bit. So the fact that I think that informed her of something that says, oh, I think she really is this
Yeah.
person, brought tears to her eyes. I think
It
that's
like
what
broke
that
her
was.
heart that, oh my
Yeah.
God, I think I'm dealing with an absolute devil of
Yeah.
a human being.
Like I really, maybe there was a part of her that really wanted her to just be this Adilah woman.
Yeah.
But then in that moment, it was like, I can't, no, I think that she really is this
Oh, just think how you'd have to be
Ginevra.
working with and pretending you like somebody who is that evil, who like
Right.
who is in
Yeah.
command of just a barbaric group
Mhm.
that cuts heads off children. You know, it would be
Ugh.
what ISIS does is
I know.
straight out of a nightmare. So if you were also like it would be a visceral reaction, like she had, like almost sick.
Mhm.
Got this monster. Like I would just want to knife her right there. Like I'd be like, okay,
Right, right.
you know,
Right.
but she can't. She has to make sure. But yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that too, Rachel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's a brief shot of the ladies on a bus in the rain, and then Malik contemplating the portrait of the woman from the Louvre that Max was looking at earlier. Imogen called him then, finally calling him back, furious about closing of the bridge because he promised her she could do her job. But he shocks her with the news that she no longer needs to do her job because the Americans have determined that Adilah is actually Adilah per her DNA, a French Algerian from Paris, not Sabine, not the General Raqqa. But Imogen cares not. She has now determined via her magic that Adilah is in fact the ISIS commander that they are looking for. The woman she is with is the General Raqqa, and she will prove it. Adilah approaches her as she hangs up on Malik, and Imogen assures her that she can call her daughter or whomever she wants now. It's just the two of them, but the bus leaves in 2 minutes. Adilah looks super guilty as she walks off to make the call, and Imogen can hear everything. She appears to be talking to her daughter, although the words that she says do not sound
Yeah,
like they are
I
intended
feel like it was
for
a
her.
decoy call for sure.
For
It was a
sure,
decoy call.
yeah.
And I didn't like that Imogen hung up. She hung up.
I
'cause she's like,
promise.
"Oh."
Yeah.
Instead of continuing to listen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was annoying.
Mhm.
It doesn't make sense because she then says, it's not long now, everything can begin again.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense to say that to your
Nope.
daughter.
And the little girl said it's not fair, right?
Like,
She
yeah, it's
said
already
it's
been long
not-
enough or
Ce n'est
something.
pas
or-
juste, she says.
Yeah.
Ce n'est pas juste.
Right. It
Yeah.
sounded pre-recorded too. I don't know.
It
I'm
did
sure it
to
wasn't,
me
but
too, Kate. I was
The
like, I
kid
feel like this
voice?
is
Okay.
yes. I feel like this was a
Yeah.
decoy call.
That's
Right.
interesting. Or coded. It could have been a
Yep.
decoy call
Yeah.
with coded language. And that
Whatever
could be.
it wasn't her daughter and her having a genuine
Yeah.
conversation, you know?
No.
But also, I noticed that she also wasn't with Imogen. When Imogen was talking to Malik, she was off somewhere in the bathroom or whatever by herself,
Mhm.
and she has her own phone
Right.
now.
Mhm.
So she could have also made another call that Imogen doesn't know about.
Oh, true. But I just don't like how Imogen got off that phone so quick. I'm like, come on. Buy 101. Listen to the whole conversation.
Yeah, is that how you took it? That she was satisfied she was talking to her daughter, and so
she
she's
clicked
like
off. Yeah.
turning it off?
Mhm.
Because she was like, okay, yeah, she's talking to that little girl.
I think that's not how I took it because I mean, how bad of a spy could she be to have assumed that when we're all like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. That's not her
And-
daughter.
She's literally just said to the guy she thinks
Right.
that it's her.
Hmm.
Yeah, even if it was talking to her daughter, you'd want any clue you can get. It doesn't make any
Maybe she
sense.
did think it was a decoy, and that's why she didn't need to listen any further. I don't know.
But even if it was a decoy, they are trading
could be information,
So
yeah.
I don't get it. Back on the bus, Adilah catches some sleep while Imogen looks on. I like the music in the show.
I do too.
Yeah,
And then we are with a new guy, right? We don't know this guy?
he's new.
Okay. Who pulls out the book of surprises from earlier in the episode and finds a note that Adilah has left with a map
Mhm.
on the red King of Tuesday, unsurprisingly.
Mhm. Yeah, like I freeze framed it and I'm like, what is that Arabic writing? And I like try to
know.
translate it.
Mhm.
I don't know though.
Yeah.
It makes sense. The one who came to the end. I don't know. Something big planned. The end of something.
Yeah, exciting.
I think it's a location for something, right?
Yeah.
Is this the location
Yeah.
of this big attack they are planning, or is this another
Could be.
location where Abdullah left something so they can
Right.
do the
Who knows?
attack? Or
It looked like there was like an arrow pointing, so it could be
Mhm.
like either you can find me here, although no, maybe that doesn't make sense. You could
Like, I
find
think it
something
looked to
here,
me-
maybe.
yeah, it looked to me like, because I was looking at the map and I was like, this doesn't look like a city.
No.
It looks like there's
Building or something.
yeah, it's looked like there's a couple of streets and somewhere in the nowhere is a building, and behind that building there's something you should get because this is where the X mark
Yeah.
is set.
Mhm.
But
It's treasure.
It's the treasure. You'll find the one who came to the
That's
end.
the twist at the end. Is this was all
no,
just...
this is where Imogen got to pee finally.
It could be.
Yeah, but just that made me think she is the genie Al Raqqa then, because who else would put that there and write in Arabic? I mean, who knows? Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was Imogen. Who knows?
Maybe they're trying to mislead
Yes.
us, but
Yeah.
I don't know what else
Maybe.
this could have
Yeah.
been.
So then now she has to just stop the attack.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to be able to watch episode 3
I know,
now.
me too.
Find
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I guess that's a wrap on our discussion of episode 2. Come back next Tuesday after the show drops for our discussion of episode 3. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.